I'm going to talk about making the right abstractions when building a platform. Platform engineering. Yeah, awesome. A bit about me. My name is Henrik Høegh. I work at Lunar. We're a bank, but mostly a tech company, like a powerhouse for your money on your phone. I'm in a squad Odyssey, which doesn't really say anything about us, but we're cool. I like Cloud Native. I'm co-organized in the Cloud Native Aarhus group, part of the Cloud Native Nordic. I did a keynote in Valencia, KubeCon this year. And I like Dungeons and Dragons. Not a lot in common, but there are actually some things. So what is an abstraction, right? And so let's head over to the next slide and face the facts. So what is an abstraction? Let's head over to the next slide and face the facts. It's a joke. You understand it now. Here we have complexity in different phases, right? Again, joking. So the one on the left is very simple. It's fast. It's cheap. You want to use it for Pictionary, in Danish, tegneget. On the right, you have details. It's more expensive. Takes more time. It's great for police sketching if you're into that. Or you see people mysteriously. You can do it with Helm. You can abstract away details, like my favorite drink is coffee. It's a lie, but it's a good example. And then you can have a template that transforms this into the Kubernetes manifest that you use, right? But the most important thing is that you abstract it away. So if you give the developers both the Helm chart and the value file, you actually added complexity to them and the mental load. So what you want to do instead is to offload complexity that's not important to the developers. And you can do that, for instance, with a platform team. It's an API. We don't use Helm at Lunar, but this is basically templating where you offload them, right, if you do it right. And you can use Helm with GitOps, like Helm template, and put it in Git, have Flux reconcile it. Helm install is not GitOps, in my opinion. So where does these fit? Well, the value file's all the way to the left, right, or as far as you can push it. And then your desired state in Git is actually not far to the right. It's somewhere near that. But the actual state in Kubernetes is the complete picture. Because what you have in Git is not the entire truth. And I learned that from Costly, and I'm very thankful for that. I think it's a company that you'll hear more from in the near future. Because in this case, you don't have endpoints or anything in Git, right? I mean, you don't have that. You don't have parts. You don't have replicas. You have deployments. OK, so in Lunar, we have Shuttle, and we have Release Manager, 2 CLIs, and they cover these things. They abstract away the details like templating, scripting, all that stuff from a plan, and they can opt out on every level. So that's very important. It also controls the release cycle, how they release things to production, to dev, and all that stuff with the Release Manager. And one of the things it does, it gives you feedback in Slack and tells you exactly what's going on, what went well, and so on. And this is very important because you don't want to build a black box. You want it to communicate back what is happening. And we also have other tools like Backstage, like American Airlines is using for templating new services. So a new service takes like roughly 3 minutes, then it's running in production. We use Humio, awesome tool. And Grafana, I guess you know that. But the most important thing is that they need to be able to opt out. You don't want to create a prison. So with Shuttle, they can actually opt out on a single template or a single script or the entire plan as we use. And you can use one plan for many services. And because if you don't do this, it'll be a prison, and they will hate you for it. So I've been thrown out of my rhythm here. So I'm actually done now. And I have a minute left. So I'm sorry about that. Technical problems. That's how it is. But that's what we do at Lunar. We have these 2 CLIs. All developers don't want to know about Kubernetes, Docker files, or anything. They really don't care. They don't want to care. I mean, they hate it when they have to care. But we need to communicate back in their channels what is going on, what went well, and help them when it doesn't do that. So I think I'll end it here. Thank you so much.
My name is Ewelina, and I'm here to tell you how at Costly we're becoming more DevOps using Ensemble work. I'm a software developer or DevOps engineer in customer success and developer relations, which means I do a lot. But because we work in Ensemble, that's the case for most of my colleagues. And I'm programming in Ensemble since exactly a year. What is Ensemble programming then? According to Wikipedia, it's a software development approach where the whole team works on the same thing at the same time, in the same space, at the same computer, which is not exactly possible if you work remotely, but actually when we use online meetings like Google Meet or Zoom, I think it works even better. It's very equal. Each one of us is in a separate, on a separate computer, and it works pretty well. But why are we doing it? First of all, culture. I think culture is the most important part of DevOps, or DevOps is a culture, and it's also the most difficult one to enact. And if you use Ensemble programming, if you work in Ensemble, then it just happens automatically. You work with your colleagues most of the time. There is no way. You have to get to know each other. And once you get to know each other, you start to learn how to trust each other. Then, the second most important thing is we have worse days. We have better days. If we work in Ensemble, if we have 5 people working on solving the same issue, there is a big chance that usually the best possible solution will end up being the one that's implemented. We don't have to wait for reviews. We don't have to wait for the expert in X to come and implement X when he or she has time for that. So we develop a code that is in good quality, and we have a steady pace. We don't have those peaks and waiting times. And we improve together. Our skills improve, our familiarity with the product improves, our product improves, and our team identity improves, not mentioning the pace and the quality I mentioned on the previous slide. Psychological safety. Wikipedia defines it as an ability to employ oneself without fearing of negative consequences. And again, I think Ensemble work or Ensemble programming kind of gives that to you out of the box. One of the principles is that if you work in Ensemble and you're the one actually typing at the moment, you don't have to know anything. So it's very easy to start working on something without the fear of the lack of knowledge being exposed, because it's perfectly fine if you know nothing. And that's how I became a costly expert in a week. I started knowing nothing. At the end of the week, I was comfortable enough to talk to my customers about it. And yeah, lottery factor, that's a fun one. So lottery factor is like a bus factor, but with a little bit less grim premise. Imagine your colleague or colleagues win a lottery. They buy an island, and then they move there with a bunch of rescue pigs. Good for them, but our development can stop unless we work in Ensemble, and the fact that we lose this very, very specialized, talented person is not a big problem, because the rest of the team feels pretty confident in most of the parts of the software. So we'll miss them, but you know, have fun with your pigs. And it is more fun. Like, just because you work with people, you can start like joking together, but also it's easier to make an attempt of tackling really challenging issues that, for example, I wouldn't be able to try to solve on my own. But I have 3 colleagues with me, and we can just talk and try things and talk and try things again. So it simply is more fun. And I told you that it brings us towards DevOps. And I hope it actually is self-explanatory. I have my own definition of DevOps, but plenty of other people too, so I checked the internet just to be on the safe side. And it seems like it boils down to collaboration and shared responsibility. Again, if you work in Ensemble, the collaboration and shared responsibility just happen. So there's nothing you can do about it. You are becoming a little bit more DevOps, or you're helping your culture to become that. How does it happen at Costly then? The best things that happen to me work-wise in terms of teams, or work culture happen, and I cannot stress it enough, organically. If you come and tell me, this is your new framework, this is how you're going to start working from now on, it will likely not work for me, and probably for many people. But if you and your colleagues are trying things because you think you need to change the way of working, because you have a problem, and you make an attempt of solving this problem, you take a step forward, another one, sometimes a couple of steps back, then you end up working in a way that actually works for you and brings you benefits. So we didn't read a book, How to Do Ansible Programming and Apply it, or the rules. We're just trying things, and we're getting closer to the rules, but because we understood why we needed to work that way and how we got there. So if that very short presentation made you curious about Ansible programming or Ansible work, it doesn't have to apply to programming only, and you want to try it, I just have one advice for you. Make sure everyone understands it, why and how you want this new way of working to look like, and just try. Whew, thank you.
Awesome. Hi, we are Eficode, and we organize the DevOps Conference. What developers really want is to see their software live. Minimizing the time from idea to software delivery really makes sense, whether you invest in CI/CD, cloud native development, or continuous experimentation and learning. We would love to speak to you about how to remove the pain and uncertainty from your software development lifecycle. You can find us at eficode.com. The links are in the description. Have a great time with the DevOps Conference talks.
Hi. It's actually a really good picture of me, changed a bit. So here in Copenhagen, there is a restaurant called Noma. Most of you already know it because it was selected as the best restaurant in the world last year. One of my best friends, Tony, works there in the test kitchen. So in the service kitchen, there are 5 stations from which they produce a total of 16 dishes for each visiting group during the evening. They have spread out the responsibilities, so a few dishes there, a few dishes there, and it works that way. So some of the ingredients are as fresh as they can get, and some of them have been prepared for months. And each dish is then a combination of these ingredients. For example, soft-boiled quail egg wrapped in fermented ramson leaf, or reindeer brain custard with pollen scooped from the skull. I hope you're not hungry. UX, or user experience, is how you feel throughout the evening when you go to the restaurant as a guest. How you enter the building, how each chef is welcoming you, and then, of course, how each dish builds a part of the experience. DX, or developer experience, is how every employee feels when they are preparing the dishes, pouring the drinks, or interacting with the guests. In modern software development, we often put most of the focus into serving our customers, into the UX. We look at the latest DevOps metrics, we can see that they too are focused on the UX side, like deployment frequency, or lead time, or failure rate, or recovery time. In Noma, they tried to grow the number of customers they could serve during each day. And this led to lower developer experience, or more stress, and an unsustainable working culture. Lower developer experience then had a risk of leading into lower user experience, so they had to change it. What can we learn from Noma? So the first one is team topologies. We've heard it all over today, and it's an important topic. Enabling self-organized teams working in 5 stations that together create a successful product, or in this case, an experience. It helps scaling up the production without the traditional software development bottlenecks. The second one is moving from high to low context. It means providing understandable information at the right time, instead of building on non-verbal traditions or high cognitive load of tools. Even if you are new to fine dining, in Noma you will feel safe and welcome, and there are no unspoken rules or expectations. Following the same principles, Noma is able to employ trainees all around the world while having them work as equals on the dishes and the experience for each guest. There is a constant global shortage of developers. And the harder it is for you to get your new developers to be productive, the harder it will be to scale or even maintain your current speed. The third learning is making compliance part of the process from the very beginning. So it's too late for the head of each station, sous chef, to say that something that has been prepared months ago is not compliant. The same way as we in IT should not hear from the security team that a feature we created months ago is not compliant. With the security tools available and the modern DevOps processes in place, we need to build common expectations between the dev and security teams. There is still lots we can do to improve the developer experience. While DevOps is one of the tools we can use to make the organizations better, it's also a paradigm that enables us to leverage learnings from the more traditional professions and create an environment where everyone feels safe and welcome. From my experience, I can confidently say that the best organizations today treat user experience and developer experience equally. DevOps is the key that enables you to build them concurrently at the same time. I encourage you all to visit a restaurant like Noma at least once. But meanwhile, you can take their learnings and bring them back into your organization. Thank you.
Hello. Yeah, I'm here to talk about the multi-cloud future and cloud agnosticism. Briefly, who am I? I'm the Chief Technology Officer for KMD. If you're Danish, you might have some idea who we are. We're actually running the election that's happening today. Been around for 50 years. And we do a lot of work in digital government, energy utility, digital finance. And we were the first mover of digital solutions in the public sector in Denmark to the cloud. Before KMD, I spent almost 10 years also at a company called Unity. That's actually what brought me to Denmark in the gaming industry, where I had responsibility for designing and developing and building up the development and delivery pipeline for the organization as it grew. So I've seen a number of things. And one of the things that I've kind of learned with all of my experiences is that when you're running a business, a product that has some longevity, you need to consider about the risk to your product and to your business and to your customers. We live in a world where things are changing all the time. So for me, one of the things that's close to my heart is the multi-cloud future, as I call it. And I say the multi-cloud future, but it's something that many people often are thinking, I don't believe in the multi-cloud future, but in my mind, that's like saying you don't believe in gravity. It exists. There are many different cloud options. And I think what the multi-cloud future really means is that we will get better and better at understanding how to work within them and between them. There are a number of reasons why I believe in embracing this. Again, short talk, so I picked two that I think are relevant to many of us. One, regulations. So data privacy legislation is a big one. And this one I think is especially important because I've seen from the companies here, many of you coming from industries, digital finance, pharmaceuticals, medical equipment manufacturing. These are all very highly regulated industries. So whether you're talking about data privacy legislation, we all know about GDPR. It's also kickstarted similar legislation around the world. But beyond that, if you work in digital banking, European banking regulations, you need to be able to show what is an exit strategy from your current vendor, for example. This is not something you can ignore. And it's also something that's constantly evolving. We had GDPR come into play, then we had Schrems 2. Now we have a new framework. We are waiting waiting for the European Commission now to make a new equivalency decision. We don't know what will happen when that one goes to court, for example. So regulations in general are a huge, huge factor when you think bigger picture and longer term. And then the other big reason that I decided to talk about was that cloud's been around for a while. We understand also that not all workloads are created equal. So to give a very concrete example that's also a bit trendy, I think, think about AI, machine learning. The reality is that it can be very nice to operate an AI-based solution in public cloud with all the bells and whistles, but it can be prohibitively expensive to train an AI model. However, we live in a multi-cloud world. You can train your model on bare metal for a much cheaper price, and you can operate your production solution in public cloud. It's 2022. You can have your cake and eat it too. It just requires a bit of planning. So the key takeaway here is, if you want to think about how to future-proof your business and your product, and you're developing something that you expect to have some longevity, think about cloud agnosticism. Now, I might have a strong opinion about this, but I also didn't just fall off the truck yesterday, right? So pure, true cloud agnosticism, where there's no cost to move between one vendor to another, doesn't exist. However, it means constantly thinking and evaluating with every choice that you make, your architectural decisions, your design. What would my exit strategy be? What kind of flexibility does this bring or take away from my overall solution here? Don't prematurely optimize, but just think, okay, could maybe inserting a facade here make this a little bit easier if I need to switch databases in the future, for example? It's not black or white. It's not all or nothing. There can be very good reasons for leaning into something that's very, very tied to a specific vendor, but do it with eyes wide open and think about the implications for your organization and your product and your customers in the future. Thank you.